Did you know it's illegal to move a mob in a boat, or that it's a crime to collect seaweed at night? And today I'm joined by Brandy to cover 41 weird laws that you break every day in Minecraft. And hey, the YouTube police chief let me know that it's illegal to subscribe to the channel with your right pinky. So to prove them wrong, slide your 5th digit to that sub button below. It's free, and it's probably just a misdemeanor at worst. In Alaska, you're not allowed to put an animal into the back of an open vehicle. So anytime that you've tried to move a mushroom away from an island using a boat, you're breaking the law. And while this might not technically apply to villagers, that could be breaking some other laws that we'll get into later in the video. Oh, and I don't think that the new rafts in 1.20 are going to be any way around this either. Sorry. This one might be a gray area, but anytime that you eat rotten flesh, you could be breaking the law, considering that cannibalism is strictly prohibited, and in Idaho could be punishable up to 14 years in prison. But it begs the question, is rotten flesh cannibalism? Are zombies the same as Steve? And while I'd have to leave it to MatPat to figure out that game theory, I will say that they share the same clothes, so it's not a stretch of the imagination.
This fence gate is a literal gateway to the life of crime, at least in the state of Wyoming, where forgetting to close it could land you a whopping $750 fine. So to make sure the legal hammer doesn't come down on you too swiftly, remember to always use a pressure plate to do your dirty work for you.
If you were to drink a potion before you ride a horse, then in Colorado, you're breaking the law, since in that state it's said legally you're not allowed to ride a horse while under the influence. And I would assume this extends to something like the nausea effect you get from eating a pufferfish as well. So maybe let the potion effect run out in the timer up top before you try taking your steed anywhere else. Here's why you've never seen 100 days on a boat Minecraft challenge, because it might be illegal. At least in Georgia, it's illegal to live on a boat for more than 30 days in a row, which is a shame because I feel like I've spent at least 30 days trying to look for a coral reef before. But I'd also figured the state of Georgia doesn't have jurisdiction over my Minecraft world, so maybe I'm safe with that one.
Trees can be used as a great vantage point to see the world around you, but next time you need a bird's eye view, you might want to check your local legal codes first, because climbing a tree in Toronto is, you guessed it, illegal. So navigating the vines in a jungle biome is kind of like a legal jungle gym. Luckily, you won't find a lot of jungles in Toronto anyways, so you're probably in the clear.
This village chest is illegal, because while you might see things like paper, glass, and iron ingots, to a police officer in Hartford, they actually see that as contraband. And quite literally, according to their municipal code, it's illegal to collect rags, paper, glass, old metal, junk, cinders, or other waste matter within the city without having a license, which I think basically includes that whole cartographer chest. Sorry. As of right now, we haven't broken the law, but as soon as we mine down, that's the problem. Since the way that the laws work in the real world, you're only able to mine within the area that you own. So we'd have to buy the property for these chunks anyway. And even then, they might not be zoned for it in the first place, which is a whole bunch of legal documentation that's just gonna give you a headache, turning Minecraft into migraine craft. That joke worked better in the script, trust me.
Allays are cute, but don't be fooled, because rescuing them from a mansion or outpost could land you on the legal chopping block. See, their cages are guarded and owned by pillagers, so breaking in to free your newest fairy godparent could be considered vandalism. Most people think of snow golems as friends or even protectors, but underneath that pumpkin head lies the face of a violent criminal. Well, kind of, because it may still be illegal to throw snowballs in Topeka, Kansas, which ironically kind of steals the fun out of a winter wonderland. But hey, maybe the law doesn't have jurisdiction in the Nether, so you can still challenge those blazes to a snowball fight.
Here's why you legally can never kill a creeper. Because by law, you're not allowed to kill something unless it's attacked you first. After all, that's self-defense. But while zombies and skeleton take the first shot, a creeper doesn't attack you until it explodes. And by that point, it's too late. We can't exactly retaliate. So if you're trying to stay on the up and up, maybe just place down a block like this at the feet so that you'll stay safe and a peaceful bystander, both of which will look better on your permanent record.
The next time you go fishing, you might want to be careful who sees you, because in the UK, Section 32 of the Salmon Act of 1986 specifically outlaws handling salmon in suspicious circumstances. Now, as far as I'm concerned, what happens between you and the salmon is your business. But the law does beg a few questions, like what exactly makes a salmon suspicious? Does being cooked make it more or less so? And why is there an entire Salmon Act in the first place? It seems kind of fishy, if you ask me.
Stop using a sword to kill your animals, because unless it's enchanted with sharpness 5, it could be breaking the law. As written, all all animals that are kept for food must be killed quickly and humanely. And something tells me that using your fist isn't great for either of those two measures. So instead, let's try using something safer like a powdered snow bucket. I hear freezing to death is actually quite peaceful, or at least as peaceful as death can be. Not many of the mobs live to tell you about it after the fact.
Now, what do carrots, potatoes, and bread all have in common? Well, drop enough of them and they can send an entire village straight to jail. See, villagers love to pick up crops and bring them to their special someone. But before you know it, right in the middle of town, the whole village is having a, well, kissing party. So it's your legal right to lock up those honkers for public indecency on the spot. And I wouldn't blame you. I mean, honestly, I've seen teenagers with more self-control.
In Mississippi, if you use profanity in public, it could land you in jail for up to 30 days. And I guess that's not too far off from Minecraft's new chat reporting feature. Except instead of jail, you might just get banned from multiplayer. And honestly, I don't know which one's worse.
Building a house is a staple of playing Minecraft. Unfortunately, there's only two guarantees in life: death and property taxes, even in those hardcore worlds. But on the bright side, next time you're on a server, you can use this to your advantage. Because who else is going to collect the property tax on your friend's new build? The villagers? The admin? I don't think so. So why not use that confusion to stuff your pockets with their profits? That's a win for you and your wallet.
Before you go to kill that mob, you might want to check your calendar, because within the state of Virginia, you can't kill anything on Sundays. Oh, except for, apparently, raccoons. But considering those haven't been added to Minecraft yet, I think we could just take this as a blanket rule and say that there should be no killing done on Sunday. Which I guess is fine by me. I'll just use my mob farm the other 6 days out of the week. You should never play a chirp music disc next to your parrot, because it's apparently illegal for your parrot to be too noisy. And I'm afraid that having a dance party fits within that category. Though this is only a law within the Victorian neighborhood of the Oak Bay, so I think that's obscure enough to just ignore it anyways.
The first unwritten law of Minecraft is never dig straight down, but not for the reason you may think, because in order to mine that land legally, first, you'll need to get a mining claim. So you can either fill out all the paperwork to try and get one, or just add some excessively vaulted ceilings to your own basement. But either way, finding diamonds right on the other side of your property line really sucks. Trust me.
Wait, stop right there. Good, you almost broke a law. Because even just the simple act of walking around could be seen as trespassing. With how much walking we do in Minecraft, it's basically constant trespassing. Oh, and all the villages that got added in from the Village and Pillage update don't do us any favors. Really, that just gives us a whole slew of private property to just trudge through, which really just means even more laws that we're breaking. Alright, pop quiz, what's wrong with this pig pen? Well, by itself, nothing. But rather, it's the fact that we built this next to a street. Because as it was written in Part F45 of the Town Police Clauses of 1847 in the UK, a mouthful, I know, it is illegal for any person to keep a pigsty next to the front of any street. Which I guess even applies if we were the ones who built the street in the first place. But I doubt the lawmakers back in 1847 ever pictured a pig pen looking like this, so maybe we're in the clear.
Never bring your cows to a village, at least during the daytime, because it may seem harmless enough, but in the UK, according to the Metropolitan Streets Act of 1867, Section 7, it's illegal to walk cows down the street in daylight. So unless you want to trade that herd of cows for a horde of zombies on your midnight stroll, maybe just tie their lead to a fence on the outskirts of town. Besides, prison cells are pretty cramped, so a cow probably isn't the best cellmate. Unfortunately, that jail cell is about to get a little more crowded, because in Georgia, it's literally illegal for a chicken to cross the road. So whether your feathery friend came to pay you a visit or bust you out of the slammer, there's a good chance you'll be getting another bunkmate by the end of the day.
If your house looks like this, you're breaking the law. Now, it's not your fault, it looks nice as a house, but in Canada, Ontario, it's illegal to ever use the color purple for your house, which seems oddly specific. I mean, you're allowed to have any other color for your house, but purple? Nope, that's off limits. And why this got passed as a law in the first place? I have no clue. Here's why the new Allay mob is a criminal. Because every time that they pick up the items off the ground and throw them at you, if you don't pick those up, then they're essentially littering. And I don't care how cute this mob is, it's not gonna do them any favors once they get in jail. And considering we already freed them from one prison, I doubt they want to see the inside of another cell. While it might not be illegal to put your villagers inside of a minecart or a boat, it's what you're doing there that's the problem. After all, you can't just take villagers, villagers, that's kidnapping. And considering the kind of villager breeder that we have in mind for them, that feels even more illegal to do. So, alright, we can't exactly take them out of the village back to our base, but what if we build a base around the village? Well, that's breaking the law too. Since just the simple act of building a wall around the villager's city to protect them, that isn't an act of kindness, that's a hostage situation. And I don't think the police are gonna listen to the fact that you had the best of intentions when you built that wall. So let's avoid that for all of us and just build a couple of iron golems for protection instead.
Have you ever harvested crops from a village? If you said yes, then unfortunately, you just confessed to a potential felony. See, even if you replant all of the crops, taking the profits is considered theft, or at the very least, shoplifting from the local farmers. So next time you're walking past a village, just leave the crops for the villagers. It may slow down those speedruns, but I don't think doing hard time is gonna break any world records.
This pickle might be illegal, but there's only one way for me to find out. Since in Connecticut, for a pickle to legally be a pickle, it has to be able to bounce. And in Minecraft, the same applies to sea pickles. But luckily, if we use some slime blocks, I think we're in the clear. But honey blocks, no luck. So be careful where you hit the Q key with one of these.
Hey, be careful placing that block. Put it in the wrong spot and it's illegal. And I'm not talking about the Minecraft YouTube trends, because to legally build anything, you'll need a building permit first. Now you can always head down to your local city building and buy one, but some servers already have plot systems in place, and I guess that's close enough. Besides, any of those are still less restrictive than world borders, so look on the bright side.
Ice boats are great, but they're probably illegal. Because, as outlined in the Metropolitan Police Act of 1839, Section 54, you cannot slide down icy streets. And I'm afraid that applies to our iced up highways as well. And even if it isn't illegal to ride your boat down an ice highway in the Nether, we're definitely breaking some kind of speed limit with how fast we go here. So it's a lose in both cases.
Wait, don't kill that pig! Okay, now you can kill it. Sorry, pig. See, to hunt animals legally, you'll need to get a hunting license first, because without one, you might find the law hunting you instead. But once you get a license, your world is basically in open season. Just try not to go overboard or things might start feeling a little lonely.
Punching wood is a Minecraft staple, but it's also illegal, since the USA's Department of Agriculture is not going to take kindly to just knocking down trees like that in the open. You'll need a logging permit at least. And while it's not explicitly laid out in US law whether you can leave floating trees, I'm going to come out and say that that looks illegal for a whole other reason. Man, you should avoid it at all costs.
Let's face it, rain and thunderstorms can get pretty annoying in Minecraft. But next time you want to sleep to reset the weather cycle, you might want to think twice before jumping in the sheets. Because in Colorado, it's illegal to modify the weather without a permit, which I guess is similar to Minecraft since you need operator privileges to use the actual weather command anyways, but it begs the question, why did Colorado need this law in the first place? I guess some rogue admin just ruined it for everyone.
Be careful using your fireworks at night, because while it might be better to set these off with a dark sky, at least in North Dakota, it's illegal to shoot off fireworks after 11 p.m. at night. So watch your clock very carefully the next time that you use an elytra. You want to make sure you're not breaking either your curfew or the law while you're out exploring.
Don't touch that screenshot button, or at least check your calendar first, because in Wyoming, it's illegal to take a picture of a rabbit between the months of January and April. So make sure to stockpile those screenies in May, but maybe remove your F2 key in the spring just to play it safe.
Do not carry oak planks in your inventory, because in the UK, it's apparently illegal to carry a plank of wood along the pavement unless it's explicitly being loaded into or unloaded out of a vehicle. So I guess it's fine within a minecart, but out of the pathland, you're better off dropping this into a chest first.
This cow is the only thing standing between you and life in prison, or at least a Class B misdemeanor in the state of Utah, where it's illegal to not drink milk. How much? How often? Who knows? The law is a little murky, but until Mojang takes an official stance on this law, I'm going to be keeping this guy at my side at all times. Besides, taking a milk bucket to raid an ocean monument keeps the law and that pesky mining fatigue off your back.
In Indiana, it's illegal to ride your horse above the speed of 10 miles per hour. So that super fast steed that you spent all the time trying to breed might just land you in a jail cell. Oh, and I'm gonna assume that this goes doubly true for any kind of horses that you breed up using the speed potion glitch in Bedrock. At least to me, that looks a lot faster than 10 miles per hour.
Have you ever heard of a seaweed heist? Me neither. But next time you're collecting kelp, you might want to be extra careful, because according to New Hampshire law, it's illegal to carry away or collect seaweed at night. night. So those midnight dives might be what drowns you in legal issues. But as for those automatic farms harvesting 24/7, well, that might be what we call a legal loophole.
Before you raid this shipwreck, you'll want to get out the measuring tape, because the only legal way to do treasure hunting is if a shipwreck is more than 3 miles offshore. And in Minecraft, 3 miles is approximately 4,828 blocks. So for maritime rule to kick in, you probably don't want to raid any ships that got a little bit too close to the coast. And with that, folks, YouTube thinks that you might like this video, so see if they're right and have a good one, alright?